No, Mr. Wright never gives interviews.
Sure, ask him all the questions you want. We have nothing to hide.
Yes, he's definitely leaning toward the conservative corner.
You won't find a greater liberal in the party.
It's undoubtedly due to his grassroots background.
Right.
Real man of the people.
Right, Harvard Law School. Summa cum laude, one of the finest families in Boston.
Come in. Oh yes, he's all in favor of that.
He's weighing pros and cons on that.
He's definitely against that.
He's thinking it over.
Where do you want this?
Anywhere. You can quote me.
Oh, but don't quote me. Get that, will you?
He'll be covering that in his speech this afternoon.
It's too early for him to take a stand on that.
Mr. Wright, sweet.
Yes, his position is definite.
Where does Andrew Wright stand on women's rights?
A vote for right is a vote for all rights.
It's all right with him.
You'll have to speak up. I'm on the phone.
Search me. I just work here.
Yes, nice talking to you too.
Anytime, old buddy.
No, I'm not his staff. I'm the hotel maid.
Ciao, baby.
Bye
Same to
now.
you, fella.
This coffee tastes nasty.
Well, then it's an improvement on yesterday's.
What do they do to these poor little beans anyhow?
They recycle them.
Okay, now look, Andy. Smitty, tell them to hold all calls till we say so.
I think that half my campaign contributions are going to the phone company.
Well, they only charge us half price as long as we let them write off the full price as a tax deduction.
Is that legal?
Who cares?
Well, if it leaked out, it hurt AT&T stock.
Nothing hurts AT&T stock. The Pentagon couldn't last 10 minutes without their telephones, and the phone company knows it.
Chuck, where does Andy stand on the anti-tariff embargo bill?
Have they been asking that again?
All morning, every single caller.
What have you been telling them?
Then we'll cover it in the speech this afternoon.
Good. That'll keep them off our backs.
Chuck, where do I stand on the anti-tariff embargo bill?
Is Marlowe for it or against it?
He hasn't declared himself yet.
Damn. Got to find out. Quick.
So what's Marlowe's stand got to do with it?
Use your head, Andy. If he's for it, you've got to be against it, or vice versa. It's the only area of the campaign the two of you aren't in agreement on.
But what if I do agree with him?
You won't. As soon as we find out his stance, yours will be the opposite.
But what if I agree with his stance?
Andy, that doesn't matter now. Once you're elected president, you can always change your mind.
But Chuck, what is the anti-tariff embargo bill?
Well, that's the bill that, Smitty?
Beats me. I've never understood congressional stances.
Well, somebody's got to know what it's about.
Why? Understanding a bill has nothing to do with the way the Senate votes on it. If you're for it, the party members in the Senate will be for it. What's its content matter?
I'll never understand politics.
Andy, you've been in politics all your life.
It's been a very confusing life.
No, never mind that now. Smitty, get on the phone and find out where Marlowe stands on that bill. You've got less than 4 hours to work up an opposing stance.
Check.
Andy, finish your coffee and come sit down. We need a strategy plan. I'm starting to get very worried about your image.
What's wrong with my image? My record's clean. No scandals, no big election lawsuits. I've got a great speaking voice. You tell me I'm photogenic from every angle. What else is there?
Marlowe's wife, that's what. Have you seen that dame on TV? Tall, honey hair, swell dresser. Classy with a capital C. All you got is me and Smith.
Chuck, you said that being a bachelor was a plus. I could take the stand that all my time could be devoted to serving the country without any interference from any domestic matters. A man free to give his all to the people.
I know. That was before I got a look at Edwina Marlowe. She's got something. I don't know what it is. But it comes over fantastically on TV. Subliminally, it's very, very bad for your campaign.
What do you mean?
Well, just look at the dame, Andy. Beautiful, intelligent, well-groomed, charming. Well, the voters don't know it, but every time they look at her, they tell themselves deep in their subconscious minds, if Brandon Marlowe can keep her in such great shape, just think what he can do for our country.
Chuck, voters don't have subconscious minds. They vote for a candidate like flipping a corner because they like a sports jacket.
Exactly. And a president's wife is like a sports jacket. It belongs to him. It looks great. It shows his taste.
But Chuck, why couldn't I just get a new sports jacket?
You do, and on election day, that's all you'll have. Andy, we have got to get you a woman.
By 2 o'clock this afternoon?
Why not? I mean, this town's filled with women. I'll bet not one of them would pass up a chance to be First Lady of the United States.
Are you suggesting that I just go out on the street and grab one?
Worst comes to worst, yes. Smitty, what'd you find out?
Marlo's going to come out against the bill.
Great work. How'd you find out?
Well, actually, I didn't. I figured we didn't know what stance to take, neither did Marlo. So I called his campaign headquarters and I leaked the information that Andy was going to come out and favor the bill.
Smitty, that's brilliant. Where did you ever get such a gloriously devious mind?
I worked for you for 8 years. Something should have rubbed off.
Wait a minute, both of you. I can't just come out and say I'm for the anti-terror embargo bill. I've got to be able to state reasons why.
Damn, he's right. Smitty, will you find out what you can about the contents of that bill?
Who do I ask?
Hell, I don't know. Try Marlowe's headquarters again. Find out why he's against it. Must have cooked up some reasons by now. Then we'll take the opposing stance.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Now, let's get back to the woman in your life.
Chuck, I draw the line at waylaying some stranger off the street.
Okay, I'll do that part. You just welcome her with open arms when I drag her up to the room.
Chuck, I won't do it.
Won't? Won't? I'm offering you the presidency and you say won't?
All right, then can't.
Can't what?
Can't get married.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andy. Of course you can. Everyone can. It's one of the 4 freedoms.
Which freedom? Freedom from lust?
Freedom from fear. If you get married, we have nothing to fear.
Chuck.
Andy, you've got to do it. It's the American way. And if you're single, who will all the newspaper columnists have to pick on? They'll have to concentrate on you. That could be fatal. And listen to me. Columnists and newscasters don't mind picking on presidents because presidents don't cry, but first ladies do. A wife is more than a life partner. She's your bulletproof armor. If they pick on you, they're being concerned citizens. If they pick on her, they're being bullies.
Chuck, I can't come out and cower behind the First Lady's charisma.
Not everybody else does. Listen, Andy, you've got to let me go out and get you a woman. I'll try and get a pretty one. Look, you don't have to marry her. Just get engaged. Look, it could be even better for the campaign. I mean, what red-blooded American women's group would pass up a chance for a White House wedding? You'll be a shoo-in.
But Chuck, I'm already engaged.
You can see it all now. The Chief Justice presiding. The Upper House singing "Oh, Promise Me" in 4-part harmony. All those cameras and smiling faces. What'd you just say? Engaged? How could you be? I haven't left your side for 8 years. I would have heard you propose.
Well, it's been a rather long engagement.
It's anti-union.
Long engagements?
The bill.
The anti-terror embargo bill.
Well, I don't mean our hotel bill.
Smitty, why must you interrupt with such trivial matters in the middle of an important discussion?
Well, you asked me to find out.
What the bill's about?
Why Marlo's against it.
Aha! Marlo's against the bill because it's anti-union.
Isn't that what I just said?
Chuck, we're home free. Now all I have to do to win the election is come out against the unions.
Well, that'll swing the elite vote all right. Well, how do we get them back from Switzerland for election day?
Through with the coffee?
From the very moment I tasted it.
Chuck, I can't come out against unions. What am I going to do?
You're against unions? You move your own coffee.
Oh, no, not Andy. Marlo, he's against unions. Why else would he come out in favor of the anti-tariff embargo bill?
I thought Marlo was against it.
Ah, that's what he wants you to think. Then, once he's elected, whammo.
The dirty fig. Wait till I spread the word through the hotel. He can't get away with that.
In unity, there is strength.
Right on.
When we're through them, he won't even get his own vote.
Ha! Andy, you just got 40% of the national vote.
But Chuck, you lied to her. Isn't that illegal?
Why? All I said was, once he's elected, whammo. Hardly sue me for that.
Chuck, let's get our story straight. Is Andy for it or against it?
Well, let's wait till we see how the word spreader Mitzi is. I thought you told them to hold all calls.
This must be important.
Now, look, Andy, What's this about you being engaged? How could you be? Who is she? Why haven't I met her? Couldn't you drag her up to meet me before you took the plunge?
But I didn't.
Which question are you answering?
I didn't propose to her. Her mother did.
Well, who does she think she is? Miles Standish?
You mean John Alden?
Alden Schmalden. What's our candidate doing with a dark horse for a fiancé? Oh, who is she? When did it happen?
Well, I was about 8 years old, and
You got engaged? Where'd you grow up? Arkansas?
Chuck, that phone call?
And not now, Smitty. This is important.
No, this was summer camp, and I was out on Cape Cod, and there was this girl.
Should I leave the room?
Oh, of course not. Should she?
Well, I was only 8 years old.
Oh, I can see it all now. A young, innocent boy. A scheming, calculating older woman.
And she was only 7.
A scheming, calculating younger woman.
This isn't a love story.
I think I will leave the room. Call me if it gets spicy.
All right. Tell me what happened.
Well, she couldn't swim. She fell in the bay, so I jumped in and I pulled her out.
Andy, you're a hero. Smitty, call a news conference.
Chuck, the water's only 2 feet deep.
What's the tide in or out?
How should I know?
Well, it could make a difference when we take the pictures. The deeper the better. Smitty, find out the tide schedule for Massachusetts Bay. You son of a gun. A hero. I can see it all. You dragged her from the water. Started mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. She opened her eyes, and suddenly, you kept right on resuscitating.
Chuck, you got it all wrong. The water was only up to her waist.
7-year-old with 2-foot legs?
Well, it was muddy. She was in the mud up to her knees and in the water up to her waist.
And now, more than 30 years later, you're going to marry her. I love it. It's like out of the fairy tales. The voters will eat it up. He saved her life, then made her his wife. I love it. I love it. Is that when you decided to marry her?
Well, no, I didn't decide. Her mother did.
But you still want to marry her, right?
No, I have to marry her.
The news conference. Smitty!
It's 3:05 p.m. this evening.
Well, cancel it.
I tried.
Why must you change subjects in midstream? Never mind your oceanographics. Andy's in trouble.
I am.
You just said you have to get married. That's trouble.
Well, only because I made a deathbed promise to her mother.
Hooray, we're back in business. Smitty, call a news conference. I can see it all now. That young, adorable girl. Her mother going into shock. Her fragile heart fading. And you, there at her bedside, promising to take care of her darling for life. It's gorgeous. The women voters will kiss your shoes.
But Chuck, I made the promise on my deathbed.
How's that again?
Well, whenever I jumped into the bay with my clothes on, it turned into pneumonia. And she came to the hospital with her daughter and explained to me why I had to marry her daughter.
Oh, now, wait a minute. She explained what?
She explained why I had to marry her daughter.
And why did you?
Well, apparently the Chinese believe that when one person saves another person's life, that's the reason that person is still alive. So, from that point forward, the rescuer is responsible for the rescuee.
Somebody's got to do it.
Your fiancé is Chinese?
Oh, no. See, her mother was into Zen Buddhism, and apparently the Zen seemed like the Chinese. But she was a real strange woman. She thought that currying the horse was something you did in the microwave.
Oh, no. Doctor it up a bit. Pay a little deeper, girl a little older, switch deathbeds.
Wait a minute, Chuck. Andy, maybe nobody ever explained this to you. A deathbed promise is supposed to be made to the dying person, not by them.
Hey, she's right. I mean, dying people will promise anything. They give up drinking, smoking, womanizing.
Breathing.
Sure, what's it to hold?
But I gave my word.
Well, you're only 8 years old. What good is the word of an 8-year-old? How was that?
Sure, I can't be Mitzi. She's got a key.
Chuck, that's what I was trying to tell you. That phone call before, it was this woman, and she's coming up to see Andrew.
Did you let her?
I couldn't very well say no to the man's fiancée.
Fiancé. She's here. Hey, if we work fast, maybe we can get him married before the convention today.
But Smitty, how did Bertha know where to find me?
What did you just say? Bertha?
That's her name.
You promised to marry a Bertha?
I was dying.
Wait, there's still a chance. 8 years old, that was before tape recorders.
I'll even mouse about resuscitation when she rolled over and take the barrel.
Oh, you should have done it vice versa. Now look. I'm coming. Look, is her mother still alive?
No, I'm afraid not.
Was there anybody else in that room when you made that promise?
Just Bertha.
And they couldn't have made a recording of it, so...
We deny everything.
Right, we're home free.
But I gave it to them in writing.
Oh, boy.
I was only 8 years old.
Only 8 years old. What do you know? Wait a minute, there's still a chance. Maybe she has a cute middle name.
Desiree.
And her last name?
Sprock.
And now, the first lady of the land, Bertha Desiree Sprock. As lovely as her name.
Wait a minute, Chuck. Maybe we could get her to change her name. After all, it's done all the time, and for the chance of marrying the next president, she should be willing to make a small sacrifice.
Certainly worth a shot.
Wait a minute. I just remembered. An 8-year-old can't sign a binding legal document, and if Auntie was only 8 years old...
But I gave it to them again when I was 18.
In the name of sanity, why?
Well, this time her mother was on her deathbed, and I was only 18.
Only 18 years old.
What
What
do
do
you
you know?
You better let her in before she draws a crowd.
Then she might be willing to change her name. You said it was worth a shot.
Right. Get my pistol. Wait, the inside. There might be photographers out there. Oh, I need a drink. Later, you think.
Chuck, wait a minute. It might not be as bad as you think. We give her a hairdresser, a dressmaker, some contact lenses instead of those Coke bottles.
Really? You think so?
Hey, there's nothing a lot of money in the right places won't fix.
Oh, isn't this exciting?
Nice.
Oh, Andrew, aren't you going to kiss me?
No.
Well. So this is Bertha Sprock at last. There are no words to express how I feel at this moment.
Well, there are, but he can't use them while I'm in the room.
You must be awfully tired after your long journey all the way from,
Biloxi, Mississippi.
Bertha, how did you find me?
You don't keep in touch with her?
Would you? Would you get our guest a drink?
That would be real nice. I got real thirsty on the bus. The bus stopped once in a while for meals, but every time I got off, it started to leave without me. I just don't understand why.
Did you talk to the bus driver at all during the trip?
Oh, yes. Why, when I saw him sitting up front all by himself, I got right in the front seat and I talked to him all the way to Biloxi.
Are there any cliffs between here and Biloxi?
I don't think so.
That's why you didn't drive over one.
Bertha, you must be very exhausted. After such a long trip, wouldn't you like to go to the bedroom and lie down?
Oh, but today my horoscope says that I'm going to meet people and do things.
Horoscope. What's your sign?
Oh, Leo.
Great. Lions love to meet people and do things.
Leos are real nice. Why, there's Lucille Ball, and then there's Ethel Barrymore, and then there's...
Benito Mussolini.
You're the horoscopes?
They make better reading than your speeches.
Well, then you can back me up. Isn't it true that if Leo is supposed to meet people and do things, if she meets the wrong people, she'll do the wrong things?
I never thought of that. But who are the wrong people?
Reporters, cameramen, any kind of news person.
Now, why are reporters bad for Leos?
The reporters try to capture you in print, and the photographers try to capture your haunting beauty. And what lion wants to be captured?
Well, maybe if I just saw one reporter at a time. After all, you can't capture a lion with one person.
He might be armed.
Now, why would they want to shoot me?
Well, if just the photographer shoots you, they'd feel left out.
That must be the reporters.
What reporters?
You asked me to call a press conference,
I told you to cancel it.
and then you told me to call it again.
Well, do you have to be so damned efficient?
Chuck, what are we going to do?
What? Why, we're going to let this young lady go in the next room and make herself pretty for all those photographers. Now, Smitty, you show her where everything is. The bathroom, the makeup mirror, the open window.
I won't come back until I look real pretty.
By then, we could all be dead.
Smitty, how long can you keep her in there?
How long will it take you to move to another hotel?
Oh, that won't do any good.
Chuck, you're not going to let them in.
Well, I have to. If I don't, they'll keep trying until they find out what's wrong. All we can hope is that Smitty finds some tools in there and nails the bathroom door shut.
I think I'm going to throw up.
Not now. You'll ruin my plan.
What plan?
Well, we open the door, let in the reporters, bring Bertha back into the room, you put your arm around her, they all take your picture, and when those pictures hit the nation's front pages,
Yes?
the whole country votes for you out of sympathy.
Hello, I'm Veronica Parkhurst. You must be Mr. Macklin, Andrew Wright's campaign manager. How do you do?
Where are the others?
The others?
The other reporters. You're here for the press conference, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm the hotel social director. I just stopped by to see if the suite's all right with you, if everything's okay. Oh, hello, Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright. She just met Mr. Wright. Andy, this is perfect. It's our chances are out.
What if?
They're expecting a fiancé, so give them one.
What?
Chuck,
You've got to say you'll do it for your country.
Say I'll do what?
Get engaged to Andrew.
Chuck, you can't.
I can see it all now, side by side, moving into the White House, throwing all those fancy international parties, wearing Paris originals.
Is he crazy?
I've always thought so.
You've got to do it. Your country is calling you. Do it for hot dogs, apple pie, and the flag.
But why does Mr. Wright need a fiancé?
Because he's got one.
How's that again?
There's no time to explain. Just say you'll do it.
I won't do it.
I won't let her do it.
But Andy, she's just what you need. When she walked through that door, it was like a miracle happened. Take her. You'll like her.
But I don't want her.
Listen, you know prize factors yourself.
That's it. Get emotional. It stirs up the blood. Any minute now, you'll be in each other's arms.
But Chuck, wait a minute. Even if I agree to use Miss Parkhurst in my campaign, what happens after I'm elected and the press meets Bertha?
We'll tell them she had a horrible accident.
Who's Bertha?
Did somebody call me?
This is Bertha.
Oh, is this one of those reporters?
Yes, that's exactly what she is. Now, you two go back in the bedroom, have that nice private interview.
Mr. Macklin, I just...
Oh, don't you want to hear how Andrew and I got engaged?
You and Andrew, you're engaged.
Can't you just see her as the next First Lady of the United States?
She'd really be something.
Yeah, but who knows what?
The way it all started, when Andrew saw me, he jumped right in the bag.
That makes sense.
Get on the phone, cancel the press conference.
What'll I tell her?
Anything but the truth?
Chuck, what am I going to do? Pretty soon the news will get out about Bertha. My campaign goes right down the tubes.
Not if you're president first.
His phone is dead.
Well, you told him to hold all calls.
Not outgoing. Try that one.
Who's got a big tablet?
Moses.
His phone's dead too.
So's this.
Why would the phone company cut off service to a presidential candidate?
Maybe they know something.
There's a new girl who comes on the switchboard at noon. Maybe she can help us.
Hey, Smitty, get downstairs, stop those reporters in person.
Do you want coffee with that press conference? Can I have another drink?
How are you fixed for hemlock?
Just for her or for everybody?
I mean, you got some?
Well, it's a big kitchen. I'll see what I can do.
What's hemlock?
That's something Socrates drank when the government asked him to. Now, when Andrew asks you to take a swig of the stuff,
Chuck, you really don't think she'll find somebody? I better stop.
no, you've got bigger fish to fry.
Oh, then I better have a drink. I get real thirsty when I eat fish.
I better get down and check on that switchboard.
No, we'll need you here if those reporters arrive.
Chuck, the hallway is swarming with Secret Service men. Why don't we have them keep the reporters away?
Oh, they're too busy talking into their wristwatches.
Mr. Macklin, really, I'm as patriotic as the next person.
Miss Parkhurst, you have got to say you'll be Andy's fiancée or we're dead.
What? I'm engaged to Andrew.
Exactly, and that's why no one must find out.
How's that again?
Assassins. They're all over the place. That's why we have all those security people in the hall. So they can't get at Andy. But they can get at him by assassinating you. Now, Andy, just think how you would feel if you saw Bertha lying dead on the floor. That's right, put on a brave little smile, hide all the heartache.
But I don't understand. If she pretends to be me, won't they shoot her?
Yeah, but who cares?
Thanks a lot. Say, our chef is from Paris. How do you say hemlock in French? Sucré vénéneuse.
That's the charming thing about French. Even the poison sounds so yummy.
I didn't know hemlock was poison.
Oh, now this is no time to quote Socrates.
I still don't understand. How can she pretend to be me when she doesn't even look like me?
If she did the first time you walked out on the street, they'd take a pot shot at you.
I'm surprised it happens already.
This way, no one knows your face. You can go anywhere, do anything, meet anybody, and they won't know what you are, who you are.
Bertha, you've got to do it. It's the only way that I can keep that promise that I made to your mother. Didn't I tell her that I'd take care of her little girl? Make sure no harm came to one hair on that tiny head? Make sure that you lived your life in peace, harmony, and security? Mm-hmm. Well, this is how I'm doing it.
Right. Look at the sacrifice he's making. Holding that stranger in his arms, staring into her eyes, pretending she's the loveliest creature he's ever seen. Have you ever seen such acting in your life?
He's even starting to convince me.
It's just good politics.
Of course.
Then you'll do it?
Well, if you really think...
Your country will never forget you.
Oh, but how can I possibly?
We'll help. We'll all help. Names, dates, places, how you met, where he popped the question.
Well, that's an awful lot of information to learn before those reporters can get in.
Not if we start right now. Grab that pad, take this all down. How old are you? What are you writing on the pad?
How old are you?
Don't write the questions.
Well, I'm about,
This is no time for false modesty. How old?
I'm 34 and 11 months.
Damn. Andy's over 50. That rules out high school sweethearts.
Oh, not necessarily. We could say that Andrew wasn't too smart, and when she got to high school...
Shut up.
How about this? How about when I was a college senior, Andrew came to speak at our class at graduation, and the moment I saw him, something went poing.
That's perfect. It says it all. Quick, write it down.
Oh, must I? It's easy enough to remember.
I love this little mind like a steel computer. Okay, so he gave this talk. Something poing. And when you went up to get your diploma from him, your hands touched. There was a crimson flash. And suddenly, you were in each other's arms, mouth to mouth, heart to heart, kissing, caressing, writhing like hot-blooded snakes. Okay, so he took you out for a beer. Smitty, where have you been?
Trying to get 17 reporters to change their minds and come back later. Didn't work. They've got press deadlines.
They're coming now?
About 49 seconds behind me.
Oh, and my hair is such a mess.
But Bertha, you're not the one that
It's Nate. Let her go. It's better this way. Smitty, get in there with her and keep her there.
I'll do my best, but what if she hollers?
There's big fluffy towels in the bathroom. Start stuffing them into her mouth.
What if she struggles?
Tell her she's taking the famous Cannon case test.
I get a drink.
Vodka. Make it vodka. Reporters always smell your breath.
But we haven't finished with my background yet.
I'll make it up as you go along.
And leave out the hot blood, it stinks.
But what if I forget the story later?
Oh, nonsense. It'll be in all the afternoon papers. Buy a copy and memorize it.
The reporters.
Oh, Andrew, what are we going to do?
What are you so afraid of?
Pretending to be engaged to a man I've barely met.
Make up a romance that never existed.
Telling a pack of lies to the newspaper reporters.
Changing your name to Bertha Sprock.
What? Now, wait a minute.
Now, Veronica, be fair. If Andy is willing to change her name to his, the least you can do is change your name to hers.
Could you run that by me again?
Veronica, you've got to do it. If you don't, Bertha could get pretty ugly.
Yeah, but how could you tell?
Well, this is it, kids. Get into your corners and come out fighting.
Prost.
Skull.
Segue Venue. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to introduce a man who doesn't know the meaning of the word inefficiency, doesn't know the meaning of the word compromise, doesn't know the meaning of the word surrender.
Have you tried remedial reading?
Thank you. The next President of the United States, Andrew Wright.
My friends, these are perilous times in which we live.
I wrote that.
Who didn't?
This will not be an election based on popularity. This will be an election based on vital issues.
Bravo! Bravo! Bravo!
You wrote that too, huh?
Of course.
As informed citizens of our great country, you all know what those issues are. And I promise, if elected as your president, I will see to it that those issues are met head on, guiding the ship of state through the perilous waters ahead, bowing only to the public indignation of groundswell that will keep the banners flying high over our glorious land.
That covers land, sea, and air. How could you miss outer space?
Working together, we can guide our country's destiny to the stars and let the sun shine brightly
On our old Kentucky home.
on our nation for many, many moons.
Beautiful, brilliant, inspired.
How could you miss the comets and the asteroids?
Our proud land shall have a meteoric ascent into destiny.
I spoke too soon.
Give me some credit.
But we cannot achieve our manifest destiny if the highest office in the land is allowed to fall into the grasp of those who would hem and haw and retreat in the face of adversity, who would hem and hedge in matters of great consequence, and who would permit our great nation to be anything less than a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Now you didn't write that.
Nobody's perfect.
I stand before you a man who does not aspire to greatness, a man to whom the pomp and grandeur of public life mean nothing, a man whose lifelong goals can be summed up in a single word.
Money.
Shame on you.
Service. A president should serve the country and not expect the country to serve him. He should stay in that Oval Office working hard hours to serve the will of the people and not have the people serve him.
Except on April the 15th.
Of course.
And so, my friends, I say to you that the hour of decision is upon us. And I'm confident that all of you delegates here today and your constituency back in your beloved home states know that there is only one way in which our country can be best served. And this is, to this end, I ask one thing, your most prized possession, your vote. And now, I would like to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, sir. The gentleman from Arizona. What is your question?
what is your stance, sir, in the matter of the anti-tariff embargo bill?
Well, I'm totally in favor of anything that would be a boon and a benefit to our country. Therefore, I cannot give this bill my total support.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, ma'am. The woman from Louisiana. Yes, ma'am.
could you please explain your reasoning in the refutation of this particular bill?
Yes, ma'am. There are many tenets and aspects of this bill that when you put
Yes,
together...
Mr. Wright, what is your explanation?
Well, to those familiar with the tenets of this bill, my position should be obvious.
Mr. Wright,
Yes, sir. The gentleman from Florida. What's your question?
it is my understanding that this bill is totally beneficial to labor unions, and yet you say you're against it.
Against unions? Well, certainly not. However, as I was saying, there are many aspects of this bill. When you take it in consideration with the geoeconomic growth of the world, we put together the United States with the countries of Europe, and we have what we call...
I would like to interrupt Andrew before he explains his reasons to you. Yes, he could give you his reasons, but he's far too gallant a man to embarrass you by stating things so obvious that even a child could understand them. Why, only this morning Andrew was telling me the precise logic that led him to this seemingly startling decision. As you are all aware, certain facets of unionism are destructive to the unions themselves. When New York City's typesetters struck for higher wages, more than half of the city's newspapers closed down permanently, and only a handful of those union workers returned to their jobs at the higher wages.
I didn't know that.
Me neither.
Furthermore, when Detroit auto workers struck for higher wages, it raised the price of automobiles so high that as a result, fewer automobiles were sold. And as a result of that, more union members were out of work.
I didn't know that.
Neither did I.
The point is, and being against the anti-tariff embargo bill, Andrew Wright is showing that there is something more important than being in favor of unions. It is far more important to be in favor of the union members.
I never thought of that.
It just goes to show that union members need something more important than jobs. Union members need something more important than higher wages. Union members need their jobs.
Yes, it certainly was, wasn't it?
Hello? No, we just got back to the room.
Hello, yes it is.
No surprise? No, of course not.
Yes, we certainly were.
Well, it was a bit unexpected.
Well, she majored in political science.
Oh, no, she's just naturally well-informed citizen.
Well, I guess it was a bit unusual, but
Oh, no, of course we planned it.
No, it was her own idea.
I always knew she was smart, but
Yes, she certainly did.
embarrassed, why should I be?
Kidding, really? Will you turn that damn thing off?
Why, thank you, I think she is too.
Why don't you wait for our press release?
Right, see ya.
No trouble at all. Bye.
Sure, glad to oblige.
Cindy, tell the lobby to hold all incoming calls. Andy, we've got to think this thing could be terrific.
Maybe she should be my running mate.
But why not? I think she's even got the initials for it. Veronica Parkhurst, VP.
You forget I'm supposed to be Bertha Sprock, VS.
She's still got the initials for it.
Oh, Miss Parker, you were just magnificent. They're still talking about it down in the kitchen.
It's the hotel staff. I forgot they know her right name.
Nancy, have any reporters been asking you any questions?
Why would they bother with a room service maid?
Well, if they do talk to you, be sure and tell them that her name is Bertha Sprock.
It is. Why did you change it?
Well, wouldn't you change it if your name was Bertha Sprock?
Oh, you mean Parkhurst is the phony name?
Right. But as the next Vice President of the United States, she naturally had to finally admit the truth.
The horrible truth.
Wait till I tell the staff.
Mincy,
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it was nothing important.
All right, Miss Parkhurst. I mean, Miss Sprout.
Chuck, Andrew, what are we going to do?
Do? We're going to fall on our knees and thank heaven. That's what we're going to do. Do you know what they just told me? After your speech this afternoon, a bunch of reporters cornered Edwina Marlowe and asked her the same questions that you answered so brilliantly about the anti-tariff embargo bill. Do you know what her answer was? Never heard of it.
She didn't.
Oh, yes, she did. Apparently this dame's brain is in her bustle.
So much for good rooming.
But I can't run for vice president.
Of course you can. I mean, must. With you at his side, Andy will be a shoo-in. I mean, the reporters love you. The delegates love you. The whole world will love you.
But
I can see it all now. You and Andy on the steps of the Capitol. Husband and wife being sworn in together. The crowd cheers insanely, and the Marine Band strikes up that gloriously traditional tune.
Chuck, listen, there are reasons why I can't.
Run for vice president. Tell me what they are. I'll show you where you're wrong.
Well, for starters, haven't you forgotten that Andrew is going to marry the real Bertha? Where does that leave me on Inauguration Day?
We'll tell her the assassin story again. She'll spend Inauguration Day cowering in a closet.
But they're bound to see her sometime.
Don't be ridiculous. After the election, nobody ever sees the vice president.
And what about my name? I have to be sworn in under oath. How can I do that when they're calling me Bertha?
I know a crooked judge. He can change your name in 10 minutes.
And the vice president has to be 35.
You'll be 35 next month.
I must say you have a keen memory.
Well, it helps when you're keeping conflicting stories straight.
There. You see, everything's taken care of.
Oh yeah? We'll try this on for size. I was born in Liverpool.
That's perfect. I mean, The Beatles come from Liverpool. We'll have the teenage vote sewn up in a sack. Liverpool? You don't mean Liverpool, England. Please tell me it's a small town in South Carolina.
I'm sorry, Chuck, but I'm an American citizen now.
That doesn't help. Rules are rules.
Wait a minute. Who says rules are rules?
The Supreme Court.
And they're very picky about it.
You don't understand. Haven't an awful lot of rules gone through Congress in the past few years? Rules that say it's illegal to discriminate against a job seeker because of age, race, or national origin?
Well, yes, but that doesn't apply to the federal government, does it?
Why not? I mean, they made the rules. The least they can do is obey them.
Tell that to the CIA.
Wait a minute, Smitty. I think Chuck's got something.
So we'll send out for penicillin.
I mean, rules change all the time, right? I mean, first there is no draft, then there is a draft, then there is no draft, then there is a draft. I mean, what difference does it make that a vice presidential candidate or a presidential candidate have a certain age or a certain birthplace?
He's right. Look at George Washington. He was born a British subject. They made him president anyway.
But Chuck, aren't you forgetting that even though the rules can be changed, the natural-born American rules are in force at the moment?
Veronica's right. I mean, I could probably bulldoze some legislation through after I'm elected, but right now, we're stuck.
Wait a minute. No, we're not. Veronica might not be American-born, but since she's running as Bertha...
No, wait just a minute. I'm not running for anything but the door
Don't you
here.
want to see me elected?
Well, of course I do.
Well, after today, he'll never make it without you.
Those delegates went crazy after they heard your speech. Hey, we're lucky they still want Andy with you.
Veronica, you've got to say you'll run. And if you won't do it for hot dogs, apple pie, and the flag, do it for Andy.
But how can I with the rules the way they are?
All right, we'll stick to those rules. Technically.
I mean, technically.
We'll go the Bertha Sprott route. I'll fix it so that judge not only changes your name, but your birthplace too.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. There still may be a hitch. Andy, where was Veronica born?
Boston.
That's perfect. The cradle of liberty.
Chuck, Philadelphia is the cradle of liberty.
It is? With no drinking on Sunday?
Wait a minute, Chuck. Even if Veronica would be willing to change her total identity, haven't you forgotten what would happen if Bertha doesn't want to go along with the plan?
Oh, she will when I get through with her. Come on, Smitty, you hold her down while I threaten.
I'm beginning to think that Chuck doesn't hear a word that doesn't come out of his own mouth.
Well, he is a bit pushy, but then again, campaign managers have to be.
Pushy. He makes Attila the Hun look like Mr. Rogers.
Well, I think it goes with the job. Shy and mousy people never become famous.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that.
Well, I guess I am a little shy.
But, then again, you always were.
Ronnie? Ronnie Parker's? Why,
It's been more than 10 years, Andy. Have I really changed that much?
10 years. As long as that. It doesn't seem possible.
You were going to write every day. I'm still watching the mailbox for letter 1.
So, Ronnie, what can I say?
After 10 years, there's nothing left to say. It's just the way I told it to Chuck today. You spoke at our college, and afterwards you took me out for a beer. Apparently you didn't mean a single word of it.
Campus. Oh, no wonder that story sounded so familiar.
I'm not that creative. I can't make up such a plausible story. The facts are all there. Took me out for a beer, and I thought we started something special that day.
We did.
What happened?
Oh, this happened. Politics, campaigning, interviews, speeches, constantly on the trail promotes, hotel hopping. I just sort of lost track of time.
And of me.
There were many times when I thought back and wondered why I couldn't. But I guess it's too late for a project now.
After 10 years, I suppose so. But I was a lot younger then. I was rather immature for an important man in government like you. But I've changed a lot, smartened up a bit. In fact, I'm not really the same person I was 10 years ago.
What are you trying to say?
Well, speaking as a brand new person, I thought maybe we could...
Start from scratch?
Yeah, something like that.
Ronnie,
Oh, now wait, Andy. Hadn't you better make sure you like the new person I've become?
I'd like any person you'd become.
Andy, are you sure of that?
Ronnie, I'm crazy about you, no matter who you are.
Congratulations, you're Bertha Sprott.
She took it very reasonably, too.
Yes, am I?
Are you sure?
Absolutely. Veronica, you can use her name.
Run for the vice presidency.
Borrow her birth certificate.
Even redecorate the White House when you move in.
She says anything you need to pull this off is yours.
Anything?
Well, except you, of course.
She still plans to become the real Mrs. Wright.
How nice for her.
Oh, Ronnie.
Oh, it's all right, Andrew. I understand. A promise is a promise. You can't go back on all your promises, so there's some you've broken. Past.
I've got to stop.
No, let me. That's all your opponent needs is a rumor that you chase beautiful women through hotels.
She's right. You're running for president. Let her run for the vice president.
Chuck, what am I going to do?
About what?
About Ronnie.
Who's Ronnie?
Veronica Parkhurst. The only woman I've ever loved.
What? Andy, what are you saying?
From the moment I met her, I knew she was the woman for me. Oh, those liquid eyes, that soft melodic voice, that heart-stopping smile that can turn a man's heart into cornmeal mush.
Oh, Andrew, you don't know how long I've been waiting.
You don't understand.
He has to make a speech this afternoon.
Bertha, you're so strong.
And this is just the engagement. Can you imagine a honeymoon?
I didn't agree.
Now easy. Remember, you're overwrought. Get back at the convention in an hour.
Without Ronnie, what are my chances?
Without? What are you saying? We shifted our entire platform to include her. Those delegates will be standing on their chairs chanting, "We want Sprock! We want Sprock!" What are we going to give them? Don't be ridiculous. Now, Andy, stop that. You have to be bright, alert, energetic.
If I can't have Ronnie, nothing else matters. I could have had her. I wanted to have her. But then I let the whole damn career talk me out of it. Well, I'm not going to let it happen again.
Talk to him. Reason with him.
Oh, Andrew, what you need is a nice, warm, cuddly little wife. Oh, it'll be real nice. You and me in the White House, day after day, night after night. Oh, it'll be real nice. And then, when you retire and get your pension, oh, then we can buy a real nice chicken farm. And then some real nice little chickens. Oh, it'll be real nice.
Excuse me.
Bertha, you don't understand. I don't love you. I've never loved you. I never expect to love you. Can't you see what being married to a man like me would be like?
Oh, real nice. Oh.
Ronnie, you come back.
Oh, now wait. I only came back because Smitty convinced me how much you needed me professionally. Now wait, this is strictly business. I can't see your career go down the drain because of me. I promise I'd help and I will. There are some people around here who can keep their promises.
Great. Let's get down to work and start planning the rest of this campaign. All right, Smitty, get on the phone to Judge Hanley so we can start with the legal name change.
What about the birthplace?
Never mind. Bertha was born in Boston, and she's running as Bertha.
Check.
Andy, you start rolling up on tonight's speech.
My heart's not in it.
Oh, heart smart. Just say the words the way I wrote them. You'll be brilliant. Veronica, you get on that phone to Marlowe's headquarters. Pretend you're a fashion reporter. Find out what Edwina's wearing to their convention.
And then what?
Then call every fashion designer in Paris, France, have them come out with a mutual statement that her outfit is passé.
Will they do that?
Hell, for enough money, those guys would come out in favor of burlap overalls.
They already have.
Hey, see what I mean?
I'll give it a try.
Isn't there some place that you could fit me in?
They don't make manholes that wide. What's the word for Paris?
I came to find out about Edwina Marlowe. They said she had to leave on a short emergency trip.
Oh, they probably shipped her off for a crash course in civics. Okay, here's what you do instead.
Chuck, I was just talking to Judge Hanley and...
Not now, Smitty, I'm busy. Tell me later.
Chuck, you're always busy.
Oh, all right, what is it?
Smitty, what's the matter? Wouldn't the judge go along with the name change?
What? Oh, that? No, we never even got around to it.
Never got around to it? You see what I get for all my hard work? Inefficiency. Gross, stark inefficiency. I asked her to make a simple phone call. What does she do? Andy, have you ever heard of such
He
inefficiency?
doesn't know the meaning of the word.
Don't be sarcastic. Isn't one turncoat bad enough?
Turncoat? I knocked myself out working for you for a rotten salary, I might add. And now that I have the most glorious news in political history, you start calling me names?
News? Glorious news? What glorious news?
I had half a mind not to tell you.
And I don't blame her.
That's because you got half a mind yourself.
Well, I like that.
There, she just proved my point.
Do you want the news or don't you?
Well, I'd like to hear it.
I could certainly use a lift right now.
All right, Smitty, tell all.
Not until you apologize.
Apologize for what?
Calling me inefficient, not letting me get a word in, calling me a turncoat, shutting me up.
I didn't mean it personally.
There, he apologized.
Good, now what's the news?
That was an apology?
From me, that was a standing ovation. Now, what's the news? And it better be good.
If it is, will you give me that raise I've been groveling for?
Yes, he will. I'll make him do it. I give my solemn promise. Don't say it.
Andy, what are you saying? Hey, if I give Smitty the money she's asking for, her salary will match the cost of living.
We will all stop arguing it and let Smitty speak before I scream.
Okay.
All right.
Fine with me.
Now, Smitty, as you were saying,
Okay, here's the scoop. I was just talking to Judge Hanley, and before I asked him about Veronica's name change, I thought I ought to give him the reason why we had to do it.
And
So,
today's telephone rings. Hanley's in Washington, D.C.
Chuck,
Sorry. Go ahead, Smitty.
okay. Anyway, when I told him about Andy promising to marry Bertha and signing that piece of paper, he said it's not legally binding.
It's not mine.
What?
In order to do a legal sign a legal binding document, a person must be of legal age. Andy wasn't.
He was 18 and 18 is the legal age.
Today it is, but when Andy was 18, the legal age was 21.
Ha! Hooray for the good old days!
Andy, you're free.
Right. Let's get married.
Have you ever heard a more romantic proposal?
Needs work.
Smitty, get on the phone and start making wedding arrangements.
Check.
Now hold it. Don't I get anything to say about all of this?
What would you like to say?
Oh, yes.
Women always have to be so technical.
I'll try to round up a preacher.
Oh, I heard just the man.
I'll notify the news media.
I gotta call my mother.
Ooh, I gotta get down to the beauty shop.
Wait a minute, what's that preacher's name?
Oh, it's Reverend Goodbody. He's in the book.
Well, I guess that I better get down to the lobby. Those reporters are going to want a statement.
Bertha!
You wouldn't do anything, shall we say, rash?
Oh, no. I'm just going to tell them that Andrew Wright, who is running for president of the United States, is a man who can't keep his promise to a woman on her deathbed.
You wouldn't.
Bertha!
Now, quiet. Everybody quiet, and right now. You fully intend to go through with this thing, Miss Sprock. I think there's something you should know. Out in that hallway, there are 6 Secret Servicemen whose sole purpose and duty is to protect the life of our candidates. I have only to shout the secret code word, and anyone walking through that door will be shot dead in their tracks.
You wouldn't dare.
Just try me. She tried me.
Chuck, what's this about a secret code word?
I'd like to know what it is.
Shouldn't we all know in case there's a dangerous situation when you're not around?
Gee, I suppose you should. Well, in order to activate those Secret Servicemen, all you have to do is open the door and shout, Mayday! Maybe they're getting, I'll go look. This is terrible.
Is she?
Did they?
Oh, no, of course not.
So what happened?
She got on the elevator, pushed the button, and the door's closed. By now, she's safe in the lobby.
Well, then what was so terrible?
All those Secret Servicemen, blasting away for all they were worth, and missing by a mile, a target that size.
You wanted them to get back?
No, I guess not. But just try not to think of the fact that someday when you're in this room and there's real danger to be had, your security staff can't hit the side of a barn.
Where are you going?
After Bertha, if I talk fast, maybe I can convince those reporters she's some kind of lunatic. Oh, And while I'm out in the hall, I'd really appreciate it if nobody shouted, Mayday! Jeez! Kindly low!
I better call security in the lobby and have them stop her.
Oh, no, never mind. By now, she's already blabbing to the reporters, half of them the phone their stories in. You've got to come up with a counter plan, and quick.
Hey, why don't I marry Ronnie now?
Hey, yeah. Hey, once you're married, then everything will be, I don't get it. How does marrying Veronica solve anything?
Beats me. I was just thinking with my heart.
Oh, darling, you
Look at that house.
Wait a minute, Chuck. Maybe Andy should marry Veronica. This way, once they're married, it gives the perfect reason why he couldn't keep that promise.
But didn't I break that promise by marrying somebody else?
We'll say you forgot. We'll say the trauma of her mother's death gave you amnesia.
Great, that'll show how much he really loved the old bat.
Smith, get on the phone, get that preacher up here pronto.
Check.
Let's celebrate.
Celebrate what?
You got the presidency in the palm of your hand.
I'll make a speech and we'll have the delegates dancing in the streets.
Here's to the next president.
And here's to the next vice president.
And here's to Liverpool.
Big bounce and hemlock.
And in conclusion, my friends, I'd just like to add one last thing. I've already explained to you about the shoddy fraud that I've been perpetrating upon you, brought about by surely foolish promise that I made as a small child. I've also exposed the machinations of the real Bertha Sprock, whose story will no doubt be showing up in tonight's newspapers. I've also revealed to you the real identity of Veronica Parkhurst, a woman you've all come to know and love almost as much as myself, whose only motivation in this campaign was to see that I was elected because she felt that that would be a benefit to our country. And you surely cannot falter for that. And of course, thanks to a purely arbitrary requirement of our Constitution, you now know that she, as a former British subject, cannot be Vice President of the United States. And having told you all of this, and being fully aware of the unconscionable deceit that I've been perpetrating upon you, I cannot hope that you would credit any of my sincere campaign promises with any truth. And I do tell you, of course, that those campaign promises were made sincerely. But I do tell you, of course, that now, if any of you have any doubts about my truth or my veracity, that you are certainly, surely entitled to them.
We're dead. Completely dead. We haven't got a chance.
Wait, we do have a chance. There might be a chance in a million, but what do we have to lose?
And so, to spare you all the humiliation of a nominational vote that being a foregone conclusion, I am hereby announcing my withdrawal from candidacy.
Andrew, wait.
Ronnie.
But before you let all these people decide that for you, there's something I'd like to say to them.
But Ronnie?
Andrew, please.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Veronica Parkhurst.
Ladies and gentlemen, the problem you all face today is one of honesty. Is Andrew Wright a man of honor? He's made mistakes, yes, that's only human. But to admit to those mistakes is a rare quality in a man, especially for a man in the political arena. I say that an honest man is one who not only always tells the truth, but a man who, having told a lie, admits the fact and apologizes for it. If he were dishonest, would he ever told you he'd lied?
No, I say no, 1,000 times no.
Therefore, tell you this. If you will let Andrew Wright continue in his candidacy for the President of the United States, Andrew will give you a proof of his honesty that has never before been given to the American people in the history of our country.
Right. What proof?
Andrew Wright fully intends to put every one of his campaign promises in writing.
Ronnie.
What are you saying?
And included on that document will be the further promise that, should even so much as one of these campaign promises not be fulfilled during his term of office, he will immediately resign from the office of the presidency.
I will. I will.
And furthermore,
Oh, I hate that word.
he will not only resign, but he will waive all rights to his presidential pension.
Don't tell me she said what she just said.
If that isn't proof of his honorable nature, ladies and gentlemen, what is? So now, if you agree with me that such a document, unheard of in the annals of politics, will prove the inborn and inherent honesty of Andrew Wright, let me hear a little applause out there.
Oh, you must be the Reverend Goodbody. The happy couple will be back any minute. Would you like a drink while you're waiting?
I don't drink. Miss,
Smith, Sadie Smith, but everybody calls me Smitty. That reminds me, what should I call you?
I beg your pardon?
I'm not up on church protocol. Are you Father, Reverend, Your Grace? What?
Well, actually, I prefer to be called Elwood.
Why?
That's my given name.
Oh. Oh, okay, now I get it. All right, Elwood it is.
I just feel that clerical titles tend to make people of the cloth a little aloof from their cloth. A first name basis seems to put people more at their ease.
That makes sense.
I'm so glad. Might I sit down?
Oh, sure, Elwood, sure. I'm forgetting my manners. Just sit over there. I've got the press releases to get out.
Miss Smith,
Yes, Elwood.
just where is the ceremony to take place?
Wherever there's room. Over in that area, I guess.
In front of that bar?
Well, I guess it is a bit inappropriate.
Yes.
Tell you what, we'll move the couch back, take the table into the other room, be all set.
Oh, don't you think that's a bit heavy for you? Shouldn't we call the hotel staff to do this?
No, this is nothing. Chuck and Andy always make me carry the luggage. Keeps a girl in shape.
But, you know, I understood from Veronica earlier that she and Mr. Wright were to be married till after the election, and they were going to be married in the White House.
You know Miss Parkhurst?
Why, of course, I thought you knew.
Well, no. But this is her hometown, so it makes sense that she'd pick a preacher that she knows. Anyway, about that White House thing, it doesn't look like as much of a shoe-in for Andy anymore, not without Veronica as his running mate. So they decided to get married before the election, and who knows what'll be happening by then.
Well, I thought after her speech earlier this evening that Mr. Wright got a unanimous vote of approval for his presidential candidacy, and they were just going to finalize his nomination tonight at the convention.
Well, it's a long time between now and November, and who knows which way the wind will be blowing by then. Look, let's just put this table down on the other side of the bed, and this way nobody will trip over it on their way to the bathroom.
Fine.
Coming.
These were the best we could do on such short notice. I hope you're not too wilted.
These are used flowers?
Well, you said you were in a hurry, and the late Mr. Simmons moved this to me.
You're holding his wake at this hotel?
We rent rooms for all occasions. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, Elwood, this is Mitzi.
Here for the wedding.
Yes.
If he isn't, there won't be one.
Oh, the preacher. Great. All right, kids, let's get into bride and groom formation. Get this thing over with.
Don't be ridiculous, Chuck. I have to change into something more appropriate. Hold me a moment, darling.
She's like most women. She won't be back till tomorrow morning.
I'll go give her a hand. Mitzi, do you think that Mr. Simmons has enough flowers left over for a bridal bouquet?
I'll see what I can do.
Oh, and Mitzi, be sure and tell Mr. Simmons thank you from all of us.
Just don't wait around long enough for him to say you're welcome.
Well, Andy, what's Veronica changing into anyway? One of your business suits?
Oh no, Smitty brought one of her outfits over while we were down at the convention hall. Apparently it's bad luck if I see her wearing it before the ceremony.
I didn't know that.
You're good, buddy. I almost forgot you were here.
Oh, I tend to do that to people.
Would you like a drink?
No, thank you. I don't drink.
You know, these flowers look kind of wilted.
Hey, so do these. But I guess it's better than no flowers at all.
Oh, hey, there's a card on this one. Who are Millie, Harry, and Little Mikey?
Faintest idea, why?
Whoever they are, they extend you their deepest sympathy. What's sad about getting married? Well, I guess maybe Millie and Harry don't get along too well.
Well then, how did little Mikey get here?
Maybe Little Mikey's a schnauzer.
There's a card here too.
Oh, who's that one from?
Well, it says it's from Cha-Cha Tishman. It says, parting is such sweet sorrow.
Sounds like a travel agent from Reno. Hello. Who? Who's Henry Swafford?
Oh, he's a delegate from Delaware.
He wants to talk to you.
Well, I thought you said to hold all calls until after the ceremony.
I did. You must have bribed the switchboard operator.
Hello, this is Andrew Wright.
You ready for that drink yet?
I thought I told you. I don't drink. I've never had a drink in my life.
Must be awfully thirsty.
Yes, of course I'm in favor of that, Mr. Swafford.
In favor of what? You gotta be careful of these guys, Andy.
Oh, it's about the anti-tariff embargo bill.
But you don't know anything about that bill.
Well, it's okay. Ron explained it all to me. It's all about the taxation of overseas citizen laborers. Yes, sir. I mean, every word of it. Well, why shouldn't you own your own property? I mean, you got property on foreign soil, right? Well, property is property. If you had your car or your other belongings on foreign property, it would still be your property. I mean, the same goes for any land holdings, right?
Bride's ready. How about the rest of you?
I'm always ready.
Let me finish this drink first.
Smitty, since I'm off the phone, the hired hands, do they work on the land or do they just live there? Yeah. Well, they're on American soil, right? I mean, you're an American, and if you own the soil, it's your soil.
Andy, Veronica's waiting.
Well, sure, it's only fair.
What's only fair?
Well, if they're going to pay taxes, they have the right to vote.
That doesn't sound like much of a trade-off to me.
Yeah, right. Glad to be of help. Sure, no trouble. Bye. Smitty, bring on that bride.
Boy, the nerve of that guy. And on your wedding day, too. What's he buying? A chicken ranch in Brazil?
It wasn't for him. He's with the DuPont Corporation of Wilmington.
DuPont? They contributed $500,000 to your campaign.
Well, why do you think I stayed on the phone?
Boy, that company thinks big. Property all over the U.S., through most of Canada. It's too bad they can't buy Moscow.
What good would that do?
Family that they can fire everybody.
I got it. Oh, they're beautiful, Mitzi. Thanks a million. Bride will be out in a minute.
Mitzi, hold on a second. You're going to have to be a witness.
Oh, but I thought Mr. Smith and Mrs. Smith and Mr. Macklin were to be witnesses.
Who, me? Not a chance. I get to give the bride away.
Oh, this is going to be a nostalgic occasion. You see, I married the bride's mother.
You were Veronica's father?
Oh, I just officiated at the wedding. Oh, I was a young curate then, marrying people left and right. Nowadays, nobody wants to bother getting married anymore. It's not like it was in my heyday.
Hey, guys, he said heyday with an H and H. This trip was got a bigger budget than the United States Army. Excuse me.
It's okay, Mitzi. The door's shut. You can let go of me now.
Sorry, sir.
No problem.
Ready or not, here she comes.
Dum, dum, dum. Dum, dum, dum.
Who gives this woman in marriage?
Me.
Any regrets, darling?
Only that my mother couldn't be here. She had transportation troubles.
Mr. Plain Connections?
For Harley Davidson through a rod.
Shall I begin?
Sure, go ahead.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here in the sight of God to unite this man and this woman in the holy bonds of matrimony. If there be anyone here who knows just cause why these two should not so be united, let him speak now or forever hold his peace.
Oh, don't worry, gang. I have guards posted in the lobby with orders to shoot Bertha on sight if she heads this way.
But how will they recognize her?
I told them to watch for a meatball with a giggle.
Andrew Wright, do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife, to love and to cherish, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, until death?
I do.
Veronica Parkhurst, do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love and to cherish, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, until death?
I do.
We're in good health. Moderate health.
Now, repeat after me. With this ring,
With this ring,
I thee wed,
I be wed,
and I plight unto thee my fidelity.
and I plight unto thee my fidelity.
Now, by the power invested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may now kiss the bride.
Anytime.
Okay, kids, back to work. Back to work. Back on the old campaign trail.
Wait, you mean no honeymoon?
Oh, we've got to find the running mate for Andy that'll keep the delegates in his corner.
Chuck, couldn't we come back tomorrow and do this?
Why would I kiss you?
I mean, pick the running mate.
After all, this is their wedding night.
Oh, now, no bride wants a groom without a job. Now, come on, kids. Let's get back to work. Time's wasting.
Chuck's right, darling.
I suppose so. But Andrew, before we start getting you elected president, there's something I must tell you about myself. There's something you must know.
Oh, no. Not now. Not when he has the presidency on the tip of his palm and the tongue of his hand, or whatever that expression is.
Oh, Chuck, it's nothing like that.
Nothing like what?
So many things. I mean, she used to be a stripper. Or worse, she still is. She's next month's centerfold. She's to run guns to Ponte Villa. The possibilities are endless.
Oh, Chuck, nothing in Ronnie's past to be as bad as all that. There isn't, is there, Ronnie?
Well, let's say it's nothing that could jeopardize your political future.
Well,
What else matters?
would it be something that would jeopardize our future?
Well, you could say that. Well, let me put it this way. How's your sense of humor?
Well, that all depends.
Depends on what.
Well, just on how amusing that something is.
You would say that.
Andy, this is the woman that you love. The woman that you just promised to take for better or for worse. Stop acting like the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, give the kid a break.
Show some compassion.
Don't be a schnook. Just looked up.
Mitzi's right. Nothing could be as bad as all of that. Now, Veronica, tell Andy what's bothering his little bride.
Well, you remember how your mother could make the wedding.
Yes, of course.
Well, my mother could.
Sonny boy.
Bertha!
Veronica's mother?
You mean in 30 years the bride's gonna look like that?
Oh, Andrew, don't be silly. 30 years ago, did I look like this?
She couldn't have. A cuddly kitten doesn't grow into a moose.
Oh, besides, Veronica is adopted by me and my second husband, Mr. Parkhurst.
What happened to your first husband?
Oh, he died on our wedding night.
But Bertha, I don't understand any of this. How could you be married after that promise I made to your mother in writing on her deathbed?
So what? I didn't promise a damn thing.
Bertha, why isn't Mr. Parkhurst here?
Well, he died too.
On your wedding night?
No, he died on our second anniversary, right after we adopted Veronica. He was getting ready to take a snapshot of me, and he just keeled over.
An exploding camera can be dangerous. But Bertha, I don't understand. I thought you wanted to marry Andrew.
Now, why would I want to marry a man that didn't love me?
I mean, the others did.
All of them.
There were more than two?
Bertha, how many times have you been with her?
Just 3. The last one was a Mr. Simmons. I had such an awful luck with husbands. I have to get back to Mr. Simmons soon. Millie, Harry, and Cha-Cha are going to be waiting for me.
Now I get it. Whatever became of little Mikey?
Oh, now they wouldn't bring a schnauzer to a wedding.
What did I tell you?
Jeff, you must be psychic. But Ronnie, I don't understand any of this. After I met you and then you and...
Darling, it was all very simple.
Andrew, you were the nicest boy that I ever met.
But she didn't love you.
But I knew when Veronica grew up that you'd be a great catch for her.
So when I met you that day at college,
She told me about it afterwards, how you dumped her and broke her little heart.
she made up her mind then and there to find some way to make you marry me.
So, when I found out you were staying right here at this hotel,
She gave me this job so we'd be sure to meet again.
Well, wait a minute. She gave you this job? Bertha runs this hotel?
She owns this hotel.
amongst others.
You mean this frumpy, pudgy, goggle-eyed little dumpling owns a chain of hotels? Bertha, just how much are you worth anyway?
Well, last time I checked, about $140 million.
You mean this sweet petite? $140 million is the new in-law for our humble candidate? But with that kind of backing, you don't have to run for president. You can run for emperor!
Veronica, why do I feel like I've been tricked into a bear trap?
All bridegrooms feel that way.
Reason.
Oh, darling, you don't mind, do you?
Ask me again on our golden anniversary.
Well, the only thing that I regret is that money can't buy everything.
Bertha, what are you saying? Money can buy anything.
Not the vice presidency for my daughter.
Oh, damn, I forgot about that.
Mr. Wright's campaign headquarters. Well, he's rather busy right now.
Here, Smitty, I'll take that call. Chuck Macklin here. Oh, it's you again. Well, he's kind of tied up right now. Can I help? You're where? They what? But what about... Tell him? You bet I'll tell him. I'll tell both of them. Guys, you aren't going to believe this.
What?
That was that Henry Swafford guy, the one from Delaware. He says he's back at the convention hall. They just took another vote. Veronica is back on the vice presidential ticket.
Oh,
Oh, my daughter!
On the ticket again, and there are rules against that.
and don't they know I'm British born?
Not anymore, you're not. Nobody is. Not even the Queen.
Not even the Queen?
She's packing her bags and taking the first plane to Kentucky.
But why Kentucky?
I guess now that she can eat with her fingers, she's buying a fried chicken franchise.
Chuck, before I go out of my mind, why is the Queen not Queen anymore?
Why is my background not British anymore?
Why isn't anyone else's?
DuPont just bought England.
Great, let's get over to that convention hall.
Oh, wait for me. They'll want to take a portrait of the mother of the bride.
Can I come too? It won't take me a minute to get this uniform.
How's my flower book?
Isn't it wonderful? My entire philosophy on life has been exonerated. Money can buy anything.
I wish you'd share some of that love of money with me next week when you put the pay in my envelope on payday.
Oh, it's okay. They missed again. But remind me to have, after Andy's elected, to have him put something in the federal budget
Marksmanship lessons for the Secret Service?
Marksmanship, schmarksmanship. First thing we have to do is get those guys 6 sets of hearing aids. See if we can make the elevator before they reload. Hello. Oh, Mrs. Wright. Sorry you missed your son's wedding. Where are you? What are you doing in Mexico City? Well, I guess that makes sense. She realized she wasn't going to make it. She turned around and went home. Well, I certainly hope you'll be taking a plane up for the inauguration. You don't think it'd fit through the hole in the white fence? But why would the immigration authorities care if you... Oh, no. Yeah. Hasta mañana to you, too. Andrew Wright is an illegal alien.
Oh, no!
His mother says he was born in Tabasco.
Oh, Chuck, that must have been painful.
To Mexican City.
Oh, sorry, Chuck. But Andrew's not a citizen. Why didn't he tell us?
You didn't know. She never had the heart to tell me. He made such a cute gringo.
Oh, Chuck, what are we going to do?
The only honorable thing we can do. Operator, get me the chairman of the DuPont Corporation in Wilmington, Delaware.
Chuck, what are you going to ask them? How are you going to interest them? What are you going to say?
Chairman, this is Chuck Macklin, campaign manager for the next president of the United States. How are you guys fixed for tacos?